Hi, thanks for dropping in on our Thursday program, 10th of October. Well into October already. Glad to report we've got some very pleasant weather down here at the moment. However, that's not the case and not in the places that you'd usually think. We'll get to the weather a little bit later and, well, sadly some more flooding. But firstly, yesterday we spoke about a word, fug. I'd never heard this word, fug. Well, of course, some of you did. Class 58 wrote to us, said fug seems to be mainly British. Fug, noun, UK, a condition that can exist in a small crowded place when the air is not pure, especially because of smoke or heat. We smiled at each other through a grey fug of cigarette smoke. He wasn't the only one. The Pinky Cannery wrote to us, quoting the Chambers 21st Century Dictionary, fug, noun, a stale-smelling, stuffy atmosphere, often very hot. Well, that'd be Bangkok. Close and airless, fuggy, fugginess, noun. Remember the days sitting in a confined space when everyone smoked. So there you go. Fug is an actual word. I've sat in plenty of fuggy spaces over the years. Also, some more contact from a group up in Chiang Mai. And we'll publish the details about the group in just a moment. Tim, can you please make a mention of the following for individuals who suffered from the recent floods in Chiang Mai? Thank you. A group here in Chiang Mai is creating a clothes closet called the Aiden Crew Clothes Closet here in Chiang Mai. We have already received several offers of used clothes which will be collected and then distributed at rotating distribution centres in Chiang Mai. Our goal is to make available to individuals who lost their possessions from the recent floods. And we'll be adding a Facebook page. Well, here it is. It's called Chiang Mai Clothes Closet. And they say we're asking individuals to contact if they have clothes to donate. So that's the Chiang Mai Clothes Closet. And obviously you can find them on Facebook. Chiang Mai Clothes Closet. Doing a great job. Congratulations on that initiative. And hopefully you'll be able to help some people who are in desperate need following the floods. Now, going to the Bangkok Post and speaking about tourism. Interesting headline. Confidence craters in tourism sector. It says the Tourism Confidence Index in the third quarter, that's this year, plunged year on year and remained below the benchmark, hampered by sluggish spending from factory closures, unemployment, rising non-performing loans and severe flooding in both Thailand and abroad. Now, all this coming from the Tourism Council of Thailand and clearly speaking mostly about domestic tourism, not just foreign tourism. And the reading was derived from a survey of 740 local operators between August the 10th and September the 15th. Mr. Chum Nan said the sluggish economy played a critical role in the index declining for the third quarter, mainly attributed to 6 months of easing inflation, and the situation was worsened by severe flooding in many provinces last month. And on average, tourism operators reported their revenue was 47% of the 2019 levels. That, of course, being the last full year of tourism in Thailand before the pandemic. While 82% were still recording lower revenue than during the pre-pandemic period, far worse than 54% in the corresponding period last year. So tourism in Thailand suffering from a bit of an onslaught of a metaphorical perfect storm. I mean, we've got the flooding in some areas of Thailand and of course a lot of media coverage of that flooding that sort of sometimes makes it seem like all of Thailand is underwater, which of course it isn't. And then we've got the high Thai baht against the US dollar and other currencies, although it looks like over the past 10 days at least that has started to reverse. More about that on another day. And the PHANG says flooding in northern Thailand forces tourists to switch to beach destinations. And the Assistant Chairman of the Tourism Council of Thailand says severe flooding in northern provinces, including Chiang Mai and Chiang Rai, has worsened, leading to a sharp drop in tourist numbers. Many tourists who had planned to visit the north have reportedly redirected their trips to southern beach destinations, such as Phuket, Pattaya and Krabi, opting for coastal holidays instead of mountainous retreats. And he goes on, tour operators have been hit particularly hard, not only by the slowdown during the green season, the wet season, but also by cancellations linked to the recent tragic incident involving a school bus fire. The accident has shaken public confidence, with many tourists postponing or cancelling their travel plans despite assurances that tour buses comply with all safety regulations. Well, again, I would have thought that affects mainly domestic tourism. The vast majority of people travelling on the provincial buses are locals. But talking about the people changing their plans and starting to head south instead, well, hold that thought, because BangkokPost.com reports south on alert as heavy rain poses flood risk. So the poor people changing their travel plans. Chiang Mai basked in the sunshine today, but it's now raining in other parts of the country. A bit like those queues at the bank or wherever. You think, oh, I'm in the slow queue, I'll go into this other one because it's going faster, and then as soon as you go across, it starts slowing down and the people in the queue you were standing on start going, you know what it's like. And people in the south are being warned to brace for torrential rains that started yesterday and will continue until Saturday, potentially triggering flash floods. And the warning was directed at Ratchaburi, Petchaburi, Prachuap Khiri Khan. And I know yesterday there was quite a lot of very heavy rain around Prachuap Khiri Khan and Hua Hin. Ranong, Phang, Phuket, Suratani, Krabi, Nakhon Si Thammarat, Trang Satun, Patalung, Songkhla, Patani, Yala and Naritawat, right down the very, very south. But really, that's pretty much the whole of southern Thailand. And the report says heavy rain and strong winds have been affecting parts of Petchaburi since Tuesday night. Well, as far as Phang's concerned, we're bathed in sunshine today. Let's just check the radar. So as we speak at the moment, we've got some just very light rain up near Prachuap Khiri Khan in the top of the map, Chumpon in the middle, and then down further south around the islands of Samui, hardly any rain at all. Checking the radar around Phuket and Phang, Krabi, there are some rain cells around, but nothing much to speak of. And then as we head even further down south of Phuket to Trang, Patalung, Songkhla, again, not really that much rain to speak of at the moment. So that could change very quickly, but officially there are warnings out for parts of southern Thailand. So if you are heading in that direction, I probably wouldn't be cancelling any of my plans, but it might just be a good idea to check the weather first. Okay, we haven't heard much about the cannabis situation in Thailand for a few weeks. So when this article popped up from the Bangkok Post, I thought, a bit of clarification at last. I mean, clearly there are some 3,000 or 4,000 businesses, apparently, retail stores that are set up and waiting to know what their legal situation is going to be going forward. So I held out high hopes for this article. Hopes were dashed somewhat. Let's go to it. Cannabis control to be tightened, says the article, and the Public Health Ministry will issue a new ministerial regulation to tighten control of the production, import, export, sale and possession of cannabis and hemp extracts. So if you're a store owner, you'd really like in black and white, can I operate my cannabis store, yes or no? And if you're a tourist or even a local, can I smoke cannabis in public, yes or no? And this article really doesn't help, but I'll read some of the main paragraphs anyway. And according to the Secretary-General of the Office of the Narcotics Control Board, the Cabinet on Tuesday approved in principle the draft of a ministerial regulation on the permission for the import, export, sale and possession of cannabis and hemp extracts, which are categorised as Type 5 narcotics. And it says the draft regulation will be issued under the Narcotics Code, and the regulation will lay down the criteria for applying for, granting and renewing licences and licence fees for the production, import, export, sale and possession of cannabis and hemp extracts for medical, commercial, industrial purposes, scientific research, as well as for anti-drug operations. What about a regulation about opening a retail store? What about a regulation specifying recreational use? Nothing. But it says those who are not granted the license to engage in those activities will be, and we don't even know what those activities specifically are, will be liable to a jail term of up to 5 years and or a fine of up to 500,000 baht. And then even more opaque, in particular, if they use the extracts for commercial purposes without a license, which lead to their widespread use, or sell them to young people under the age of 18, they'll face harsher punishments, including a jail term of up to 15 years and or a fine of up to 1.5 million baht. And what happened to the Cannabis Control Act that I thought would have been plugging some of these loopholes and questions? I mean, I think the people who are opening a retail store, smoking the product or growing it commercially at least deserve some sort of clear direction on what they can and can't do. So there was an assault a couple of weeks ago made public by a Thai actress called Mint about her brother Moss, who was apparently assaulted, fairly evident from the video, by a Russian man. Then there were reports that the Russian man was deaf. Not really sure what that had to do with the assault. But yeah, here's the latest. Calsodenglish.com reporting Thai actress Chalida, also known as Mint, questions justice as Russian assailant avoids jail. And the caption there saying Mr. Danila, the Russian suspect accused of assaulting Mint's brother, gives his statement to the police on October the 1st. A puzzling end to the case. Thai actress Mint reveals in the case of the Russian man who assaulted her brother, the offender did not receive a prison sentence. She finds it difficult to say whether justice was served. And at the time, thetiger.com reporting in the CCTV footage of the hotel, Moss can be seen begging the Russian man to stop, but his pleas were ignored. The Russian attacker was seen kicking Moss in the face and repeatedly punching him. But back to the story from Cowside English, she said the case ended in a confusing manner. The foreigner confessed to the crime but didn't receive a prison sentence. He only paid for her brother's medical treatment without any compensation for emotional distress. Considering the significant psychological impact on her brother, she finds it hard to say whether her family received justice. So, Mint and Moss not happy, the foreigner walking free. Seems to be a couple of cases over the past couple of weeks where foreigners have got the better deal in the Thai justice system. Okay, 10th of October, thanks for watching. We look forward to your comments. Please subscribe to the channel and we'll see you again tomorrow.